Hello everybody, I hope you are keeping well. Well, I'm going to start today's lesson by saying that this is actually going to be the last 40-minute maths lesson I do on YouTube. With Year 6, we've been planned for Year 6 to return after half term. Next week's going to be a very busy week for me trying to get everything into place. So I'll be focusing my time on that. So I hope these videos have been useful for everyone over the last couple of months. Remember, moving forward, if you're ever stuck on something, you can always go back and check an old video, and hopefully that can be helpful. Anyway, today's lesson is going to be on negative numbers, so let's crack on with that. Right, so we're going to start off with a little bit of can you go quicker than Mr. Gosling? So here we go. You shout the screen, I shout the screen too. Whoever's quickest wins. 9 times 6. 54. 76 add something equals 100. 24. 6 times 8. 48. 86 divided by 2. 43. 43 subtract 20. 23. 90 divided by 4. 22.5. 10% of 98. 9.8. 180 divided by 20 is 9. Quarter of 64. Name the shape. Parallelogram. The difference between 87 and 92 is 5. The first prime number after 50 is 53. A lot of people always say 51 for that one, but remember 3 times 17, 51. So it's 53. How many lines of symmetry? 0. Square root of 9? 3. 6.4 times 2? 12.8. The product of 3 and 45? 135. 800 divided by 4? 200. What's the perimeter? 24 centimetres. A quick way to find the perimeter of a rectangle is double the sides and add them together. Double 9 is 18, double 3 is 6. Add it together, 24. 7 divided by 4. 1.75. Half of 7 is 3.5, half of 3.5, 1.75. And we're half and half again to divide by 4. 1.5 times 8. Is 12. 1 times 8 is 8. 0.5 times 8 is 4. Add it together makes 12. 3 plus 2 times 12 is 27. Bit of BODMAS there. Do the 2 times 12 first, and then add the 3. Okay, your learning intention for today is can I add, subtract, and find the difference between negative and positive numbers? And can I solve problems related to negative numbers? And of course, there's the best in the business bonus questions to finish off. Okay, so we're going to start off nice and simple here, as we often do, just so you guys get the concept a little bit, and then you can apply that to more tricky questions. So we've got a number line here from -6 to +6. So the first question I'm going to ask you, and you can do these on your own if you want, is -5 plus 6. So if we're at minus 5 here and we had to add 6 jumps, we should work out that it takes us to 1. Because you've got 5 that you've got to add to get back to 0, and then you've got 1 left over. So minus 5 add 6 is 1. You've probably also noticed the difference between 5 and 6 is 1, so you might want to bear that in mind. Let's have a look at this one then. 6 minus 11. So if we're at 6, you've got jump back to 0 is 6, and then you've got another 5 left over to get to 11. So 6 minus 11 equals minus 5. And you've probably noticed that if you took 6 away from 11, you would get 5 anyway. So again, see if you can spot a bit of a pattern. Right, let's have a look at the next one. So 2.6 subtract 9.6. So we're going to go into decimals now. So what's the difference between 2.6 and 9.6? Well, hopefully you've worked out that it's 6. So the answer would be minus 6. If you subtracted 2.6 from 9.6, it would be 6. But of course, this is the bigger number, so it's going to go to minus 6. Let's have a look at the next one. Minus 5 add 16. Well, to get from minus 5 back to 0 is 5. Then you're going to have 11 left over. And last one, 21 minus 56. Well, I know the difference between 21 and 56 is 35. So it's got to be minus 35. So let's have a look at this question. Slightly different, this one. Now we're finding the difference. So what's the difference between minus 4 and 6? Well, from 4 to get back to 0, you'd have to add 4. And then from 0 to 6 is 6. So you just add the 4 and the 6 together. So the difference is 10. When you get these questions, which is the difference, sometimes I've noticed children are tempted just to put a minus in there, which you don't do, because it is just asking you what the difference is between the two. It's not a minus number. Okay, let's have a look at this one. You can crack it on your own. Difference between minus 23 and 9. So if you added 23 and 9 together, it would be 32. So the difference would be 32. Let's have a look at another one. The difference between 2.7 and 3.2. Again, if you want to pause and do these on your own, go ahead. So, the difference between minus 2.7 and 3.2. So, minus 2.7, we'd have to add 2.7 to get back to 0, and then you'd have to add 3.2 to get 3.2. So if you just added these two numbers together, the difference would be 5.9. Let's have a look at the next one. Slightly different question now. This is a bit like the ones before. Subtract 45 from 31. So if you had 31 and you subtracted 45, you know you've got to go into a minus number. We know the difference between 31 and 45 is 14. So the answer has got to be minus 14. Subtract 56 from 22. Same sort of question. The answer would be minus 34. Okay, so we're just going to put this into a word problem now. So let's have a look at this. Mike had £28. He bought a jumper for £35. What was the balance of his account? So hopefully you know that number bought. You know it's a subtraction. So you do 28 subtract 35, which would make minus 7. So the balance of his account would be minus £7. Or you could say he was £7 in debt. Okay, so here are your first few questions. Press pause to do them on your own. So let's have a look at this first question. What is 7 less than minus 2? The answer for this one would be minus 9. Minus 5 plus 11 would be 6. What is 12 taken from 5 would be minus 7. And add 8 to minus 9 would be minus 1. And minus 10 plus 14 would be 4. And here's the answers to these questions down. This bottom question is a bit of an inverse operation one. I spend £35 on a new bike. The balance of my account is now minus 18. How much money did I have in before? Something subtract 35 equals minus 18. So therefore you've got to add 35 to 18 to get the original amount. Okay, so here's your next lot of questions. Fill in the missing spaces. Press pause. And here's the answers. Okay, so here's your next lot of questions. Just so you know, the temperature range means the difference between the lowest temperature and the highest, the difference between the minimum and the maximum. So press pause to do this one on your own. And here's the answers. And here's your next question. So for this one, you notice on day one, it was minus 6.5 and then it increased by 5.7. So you got to start off by doing minus 6.5, add 5.7. It then dropped by 5.3. So you've got to do minus 0.8, subtract, which makes it minus 6.1. And then increased by 6.9. So you then got to add 6.9 to make 0.8. And then it dropped by 1.8. So the temperature by the end of day 5 was minus 1 degrees C. Okay, so it's now time for your best in the business bonus questions. Press pause to crack them on your own. So circle two numbers with a difference of 1.75. So hopefully you've noticed that minus 1.15 and 0.6 have got a difference of 1.75. I think that's the only combination. Number two, write two numbers with a sum of minus 6.2. So sum means to add together. So two numbers you add together to make minus 6.2. So I'm going to go for the easiest one that I can think of, which is minus 7.2 add, because of course sum means add 1 equals minus 6.2. There are obviously some different combinations you can have, but that's the one I'm going for. Make the two a little bit better. Number three, Mark makes a sequence of numbers. He chooses a starting number, then he subtracts equal amounts each time. The first number in his sequence is 22.3. The seventh number in his sequence is 24.1. What is the eighth number? So to do this, you know between 1 and 7 there's a difference of 6, so there's 6 jumps. So you need to find the difference between these two numbers, divide it by 6, and that will be how much each interval you have to add on. So hopefully you've worked out that he's going up in 0.3 each time. So the seventh number is 24.1. The eighth number has got to be 24. Dodgy point there. 4. Okay, so I hope you got on all right with the maths today. As I said at the start, this is my last 40-minute maths lesson. So I hope you found these lessons useful over the last couple of months. Apart from that, take care, be good for your parents, and I'll catch you soon.